Excuse me.
Okay, it looks like we're live on Facebook at the same time. At least we will be in 3 minutes' time. Okay, right. I'm about to hit a manually start live video on Facebook.
Okay.
So yeah, just so you know.
Right. Okay, no worries.
Activity settings, stream. Okay, yeah, I think we're live. We're ready to go.
Oh, fantastic. How exciting.
Just going to make sure, double check everything was all right. Right, I'm going to close that down, otherwise that's going to get really distracting, having both of us open on two different screens. So yeah, what we're just going to do is we're going to start off in probably 5 minutes time. I'll do a little introduction. Yeah, we'll just wait for some attendees to come in.
Okay.
We've got two already, which is always a good start. Everyone's always late to these things, aren't they?
Well, two, that gives me my cue to perform. Yeah, performing to an empty house. It's kind
exactly. I do all the time.
Act.
Yeah, singing in front of the mirror, all of that kind of stuff.
So you do.
I even do the vocal performance. The warm up.
Do you really?
No, of course not. Yeah. I'm looking at the setup that I've got and I'm thinking, okay, so I've got one screen there, and then I was going to have the Facebook live stream open on the right hand side.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But then I realized it was incredibly distracting seeing myself twice.
Yeah. So how did he get into this lark, this education tech ed, whatever you call it?
That's a really good question. So I did my degree at uni in business management, and I knew that I I wanted the experience of working at a startup, which Sherpa is, and sort of getting thrown in at the deep end. And yeah, it's I've always had a knack for presenting to people and standing up in front of people. Like, it just comes quite naturally. So
good.
Yeah, if there's one person in the office that was going to do it, it's probably going to be me. And yeah, there we go.
Good.
What about you? Have you experienced?
Well, I think they say teachers are frustrated actors, and a lot of teachers do it for different reasons. If you sort of talk to them, some people just absolutely love their subject, which is great. Some people just love being with teenagers. Some is very people. Other people, very rarely you get the sort of proper nasty bossy type that just likes power. They generally don't make very good teachers, actually. So people do it for different reasons. But it helps if you really love your subject. And funnily enough, you see, I've worked long enough in schools to know how it works, but I still love my maths, so I'm kind of almost as happy doing a one-to-one online as standing up in front of 15 ALevel students or 30 GCSE students. And teaching can be stressful. It's got its ups and its downs. I've always worked in quite good schools where it's been fun to work, but it's all full on, really. And I did it for 17 years as an employed teacher, and that's kind of almost enough for me. I've just done everything I want to do in it.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, I can see some people are starting to filter in on the meeting, which is great to see. We're not just performing to an audience.
That's right. So do you let people in? Is that what?
No,
so they come in automatically.
They should now come in automatically.
Okay, great stuff. And they can see us, poor things, can they? And listen to us.
They can see us. Yeah.
Okay. God,
so yeah, it should be good fun. I'm going to give it another 3 minutes.
Okay.
3 minutes. Just let the stragglers, let people like me.
Well, you would have been late to all the lessons, would you?
Yeah, always late to everything.
Did you get sent out?
Well, no. If it's professional, I'll be on time. But
Yeah.
you can't. Yeah, my friends they don't enjoy it when I say I'm going to rock up at 7:30 and then I rock up at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, we used to sort of it's a bit naughty this. I shouldn't really encourage students to be naughty, but if we were late for a lesson, we'd pretend to be breathing very heavily. So you go,
as if you've run there. Yeah.
I had to run to get to the lesson. I just forgot my homework, and I was trying to help my mate Charlie out find his homework, and yeah, they didn't always work. They normally just told us to go out, to leave the room or something, or whatever. Yeah.
Well, it looks like we've got a healthy number of visitors on the Facebook live stream.
Good.
So yeah, I'm actually I'm relatively happy to sort of kick this off and get it
Yeah.
started.
Okay. We'll go when you're ready. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's. So in that case, welcome everybody. First Sherpa webinar that's taking place. I'm going to say it's 2022 now. First one of 2022. This is a nice presentation, nice webinar presentation from Tim Clarke, who you can see on the screen. He is a Sherpa tutor. He's been with us for how long now?
Just 2 or 3 months.
2 or 3 months.
So
yeah.
not forever, but enjoying it. Yeah.
Brilliant. And he's going to sort of give you a nice little guide on A-level maths, how to get into it, where it can take you, and career paths, etc. So he's prepared a lovely little presentation for everyone. And then at the end, we're going to go through a couple of questions. I've got some lined up that I know Tim is fascinated by already. And if we've got any questions from the audience in the actual webinar software or on Facebook, that will be coming at the end. So that will be in about 40 minutes time. We'll have a nice little Q&A. If there's anything that you want to ask, either myself or Tim, then feel free to jump in and ask away. So Tim, over to you.
Great, thank you very much. Just going to check you can all see my screen. So a guide to A-level maths. Can you see that, James?
Yeah, I can. Yeah, it's
fantastic. All coming. Okay, so I'm addressing sort of concerns or thoughts or plans you guys might have for what to do when you get beyond year 11. So what do you want to do with your life? What do you want to do with A-levels? Is maths horrible and scary, or is it something quite exciting? So I'm just sort of telling you and giving you some hints on what you can do with A-level maths. And I'm Tim Clarke, and we're hosted today by James Gurnett. So you've probably been asked this really irritating question. What do you want to do when you grow up? Well, to be honest, it's a really irritating question. But as you get a bit older, it's not so much what you do when you want to, not so much what you do when you want to grow up, but what do you want to do in the sixth form? And then what do you want to do after the sixth form? So these annoying questions you get are questions you can't really avoid. But with a bit of luck, it will set you up with a sort of sense of excitement. The world out there is a big and exciting place. And you don't have to be a robot. You can be one of the people that programs the robots if you're good at A-level maths and good at computer science, that kind of thing. So it's sort of time to make some decisions. And decisions are based on good information. So I'm going to help you with that today. So a really good question to think about is, what degree courses need A-level maths? And I've got some stuff here for you, but do have a look yourself online. There's some great websites out there. So the Institute of Maths is good, for instance. Okay, we've got a slight lag on the screen, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, so here we've got some of the key areas which you would absolutely have to have A-level maths for at university. These are really quality degrees. Actuarial science is a form of insurance and banking, so good money there, great careers to be had. But also aeronautical engineering, all the engineerings, they absolutely use A-level maths as their language. You just cannot do some of these cool subjects without A-level maths. So civil engineering is build when you're building stuff. Economics, so that's a great degree to do economics. I've actually taught quite a few university students who have got stuck when they're at university because they haven't done enough A-level maths. They didn't do A-level maths. They were told they could get on the course. The maths you do for economics is equivalent to A-level maths, or at least some of it. So maths is great for economics and electrical engineering generally. Some people that are absolutely obsessed with maths, that's a healthy obsession, I would argue. They'll do pure maths at university, and an absolutely first-class degree to have. But one of the best degrees you could get at university. Mechanical engineering, physics, obviously. They say that maths is the queen of physics. Because they both go together so well, they complement each other. And if you're good at one, you'll probably be good at the other. So doing a maths physics combination is often really powerful. Statistics, so it's a rather sort of specific area of maths, but it's so important. When you think about the recent COVID problems we've had, the statisticians, they're the people telling us whether we should go to work or not. So massive economic implications with people that understand the maths and the statistics. So then again, we've got a sort of slightly different branch. What would be a requirement at some universities, so not necessarily essential, but actually really, really good to help you get in. So there we go, some big employers in the UK: accountancy, chemistry, computer science, massive one that, changing all the time. If you are doing computer science, you'll probably be good at maths anyway. So you'll be thinking, should I do A-level maths? Well, if you do A-level maths and other things, they'll be a sort of great ticket into these different courses and professions. Management studies, so that might be sort of how to manage people, but it's also managing things. So people that are good at logic and can sort of organize factories and the shop floor and motivating people, all these kind of sciences, that they rely on logic and thinking, which is what we do in maths. And then just a whole host of really
I
quite
think. Oh, sorry.
cool, specific courses.
Now, I have no idea if this is my internet that's going wrong, or whether it's Tim's internet going wrong. Let me just have a look.
Medicine. We'll just wait for this. Hectometer sort itself out.
It's always a good laugh, no matter how much planning, how many cables you have hooked up.
So,
there's always going to be some issues that go through.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's coming back. There we go. I think it's all.
Oh, I think okay.
It's incredibly quick.
I think we're going to be okay. I think the world's going to be a good place.
There we go. Yeah,
I think it's fine. Okay, so A-level maths, is it needed for? Of course. Okay, so A-level maths, is it needed if you want to be a doctor? Well, the answer is it really does help. You need, for a lot of these medical courses, you need maths or physics. So we'll just go through some of them. Biochemistry or biomedical sciences. This is where the UK is without a doubt a world leader. We have some of the best biochemists in the world. Think how quickly we came up with a jab for COVID. We're really good at this. If you want to be a doctor, biomedical sciences is one way in. It's not the only way in, actually. Dentistry, they probably want to see maths there. Environmental studies, earth sciences, geology. That one, geology, is a really interesting one. They do surveys about who are the richest, I shouldn't say richest, but who are the highest earning graduates in their first year after university, and they have sort of league tables. For the first time ever, it was a geologist. So if you were going to Imperial College London, one of the best science universities in the world, and you were doing geology, there were people that coming out with a degree, and they were getting salaries of £90,000, which is, at least triple what most people would see as a reasonable salary. So some fantastic careers out there for people doing geology. And again, they want to see maths or physics, preferably both. Material sciences, same kind of story, really. Medicine, that's the big one that everybody's often interested about. How they want to be a doctor. They know they want to be a doctor. How do you go about doing it? I should say with medicine, it is tough. Even if you've got straight A's, with all the right A levels, they still have to do sort of various entrance tests as well. But be ambitious. When I talk to people in year 11, it's great if you're just ambitious. Even if you don't quite get what you want, you get something very close. You can be proud of what you've done. Pharmacy, physiotherapy, psychology, and sports science, physical education. If anybody knows the difference between physiotherapy and psychology, tell us at the end, because it's always confused me. But they're great jobs. Teacher training and PGCE is postgraduate certificate in education, which all teachers in this country have to have if they want to teach. Okay, so let's just look at a few more things.
And we're back at it again with the stuttering. Hopefully it'll sort itself out again. I can only apologize for the fiber internet that is currently running across the UK. If I could wave a magic wand and go underground and start digging all the cables up that are causing problems, I would. Hopefully in a second Tim will come back. And it's always how it goes. Unfortunately, we had many technical run-throughs and a couple of demos of this, and there was issues the first time, but then ever since we've done it, it's been absolutely golden. It was one of the greatest mathematical theories of Sod's law that it was always going to play out now. So actually, what I will do is, for those of you that are interested in online tuition, in a second there's going to be a lovely little pop-up, and that pop-up will take you to the Sherpa Online website where you can find a tutor. As this is a maths webinar, it'll take you directly to all of our maths tutors. So in a second on the screen,
or just going online. Okay, I think I'm back now. I'm just going to reshare, James.
Yeah, of course.
And see what happens. Okay, so it all leads up to the rather mercenary question: do mathematicians earn more? Well, you might think, well, what are you doing this for? Is it for money or is it for love? Do we study stuff at school just because we love doing it, or do we want to earn lots of money? Well, whether or not you do want to earn loads of money, the facts are there's been a bit of research into this, and if I won't say you'll be instantly rich as soon as you open a maths textbook, but there's some good research out there, and it tells us that actually there is some evidence that mathematicians, people who do maths as a main degree, or maths as a large part of their degree, they actually make a fair bit more. The key statistic is this one, which you'll see, which is, oh, let's just go back. Yeah, so the statistic is, I'll just let you read that. Yeah, so it looks like if you're looking for a salary of £29,000, which is a really very decent salary in this country, it looks like pretty much 50% of people with maths-based degrees, 50% will be on a reasonable salary of £29,000, which relates to 19, which is as instead of 19%, so it's 50% have got the salary of 29,000, or and that compares to 19% of other people. Okay, so that's kind of quite definitive there.
And I think we've lost Tim again.
Some advice now about why maths works online. So
Tim, what I think we'll do is, I don't think being able to sort of sharing your screen and going into it. Oh, there we go. It's just me now. So what we'll do is I'm going to open up the presentation here. Hopefully everyone's able to see that. It's a bit grayed out instead of being white, which is strange. And I know we got to here. And so, yeah, as Tim was saying, you know, if you're going into a job, I unfortunately don't have the experience or the mathematical insight. I didn't take that path through school or at uni, but maths will definitely set you up if you're going for, you know, any kind of job, especially if we go back here to degree courses where it's incredibly useful, seriously useful. I can answer this thing on the difference between physiotherapy and psychology. Physiotherapy is everything to do with the muscles, limbs, bones, the actual physical parts, and then psychology is everything to do up here. And obviously you need a lot of maths experience behind that. From a physiotherapy standpoint, you know, in terms of sets, reps on rehabilitation, you know, doing your ACL, it's a long road back. So having that background and knowledge, it's all just having that base foundation. And if you can have that from even maths GCSE, but certainly maths A-level, there is a big step up. In terms of, you know, the job I'm doing, I deal with numbers every day. I've got to deal with how many tutors we've got, how many bookings we've got, everything like that. Numbers are everywhere. And here he is, he's back. I think he's refreshed. So let's get him unmuted, and then hopefully we'll be back. Tim, can you unmute for me? And then hopefully... There we
Yeah.
go.
Hi, everybody. Sorry, I was evicted from the conference room for some strange reason. I thought I was behaving myself, but obviously I've been ejected for some
I
reason.
promise you I didn't bring the hammer down on that. I think what we'll do is we'll go to our plan B. So
Yes.
I've got the presentation up here, and then hopefully, it might not look as snazzy, as good, but at least the information's there, and then hopefully your computer will be able to
great.
deal with it presenting you.
Yes, James, thank you so much for holding the fort there while I was
That's
being
all right. No worries.
thrown
That's
around
what
the
I'm here
Ethernet,
for.
whatever it's called. Fantastic.
So yeah,
I think this is the point where I was ejected from the conference room here. So the question is, do mathematicians get paid more than other people? Well, actually, the question is, people that do maths as a large part of their degree, maths-based degrees, and there's been some good research into this, and basically around 50% of people with sort of mathematical backgrounds, they can expect to earn a salary around £29,000, and that relates to about 19%. So 50% of mathematicians are getting really quite good salaries, and that relates to around about 19% of people in the general UK workforce. Okay, thanks. Next. So big decisions to be made here. Don't be overwhelmed by making big decisions. Big decisions are exciting, but if you need to make a big decision, do your research. Don't just rely on what your parents tell you is happening, because a lot of parents, it was like 20, 30 years ago when they were leaving school. So the advice they might have could be 20 or 30 years out of date. So talk to the people that know about what careers are out there at the moment. Everything's changed. And then make some good decisions. Talk to your parents, talk to your friends. If you've got anybody in your family, your friends' parents maybe that are doing a maths-based degree or have done maths in the past as part of their education, sort of A-level and beyond, just talk to them, see what's out there, and also just discover what you don't want to do. Next slide, please. Yeah, so a word now about maths itself at A-level, and maths can be divided into pure maths, which is basically algebra, or applied maths. And in theory, the applied maths is the actual useful part of maths, where it's used in industry, where it's used in the real world. People that like maths, they actually often prefer the pure maths. It's basically largely algebra. So let's say you like factorizing quadratics, you like algebra generally, then you probably will enjoy the algebra and the pure maths at A-level. The applied maths is a little bit more specialist. It's broken down into statistics, which we talked about a short while ago, and mechanics. Mechanics is basically physics. And if you've done vectors as part of your GCSE, which a lot of you guys will have done, then if you understand vectors, we use a lot of vectors in mechanics and physics. So that's where it is. Next slide, please. And so the question now is, well, why online? Well, the thing is, I'm hoping you guys have all got some lovely teachers out there who enjoy teaching you and you being taught by them. You have great lessons. So you won't have great lessons 100% of the time, but imagine your best teacher ever if you could somehow put them in your pocket, take them home with you, polish them up, and then put them on a dining room table for you or kitchen table and say, right, sir, miss, please can I have a lesson on quadratic equations? That would be great, but that doesn't actually happen in the real world. Fortunately, we've got online teaching now. It's COVID has actually made this hugely more easy to do now. We all have the knowledge. Your teachers know how to teach online. Students know how to work online. So there's actually a massive opportunity for not replacing your teacher, because you need to get on really well with your teachers at school, but actually to have some sort of backup lessons to boost your performance. And this is where the online stuff comes in. That's quite a fancy tablet there, actually. I think it's a Wacom tablet. You don't need anything quite so fancy as that. You can get smaller ones for about 35 quid. So when we had our first lockdown, I do a lot of private one-to-one tuition. I think I sent out 13 Wacom tablets to my students, because with maths in particular, you can't type maths up. It's really difficult to do that. So what you can do is you can write up some maths. The student writes up some maths, whatever it is, and then the tutor can see exactly what they're doing line by line. So imagine how that would work in a classroom if you've got 30 students and one teacher. But it's actually impossible for one teacher to work out what everybody's writing on their screen at the same time. So with the one-to-one and with the online, these tablets, you can get them next day on Amazon Prime. They're 35 quid or something. If you want something really fancy, you can pay more. But actually, for 35 quid, you can get yourself started. Some online teachers don't use tablets, but they are hugely helpful. That's my my sort of maths laboratory, I call it. A second screen is not essential, but good for the teacher, not essential for the student. Still, the A-level textbooks or textbooks in general are very useful. As we've just seen, the internet suddenly goes down. Tutors these days, professional speakers, they're quite used to things not quite working. But actually, if you've got a hard copy of a book, that means that if anything goes wrong online, you can just carry on. So yeah, that's it. Next slide, please. And James, can you just tell us why Sherpa Online and not other tutoring agencies? There are some other good tutoring agencies, but what are you particularly proud of with Sherpa?
Yeah, that's a great question. So at Sherpa, the main sort of driving force behind what we're doing is qualified teachers. You trust them in the classroom, so why wouldn't you trust them for the extra help outside of the classroom? If you're going to be paying another tuition site, for example, or another tutor that's a student just come out of university, they haven't got any classroom experience. They might have done the exams, but they don't know how they're actually structured, how to properly answer them, have all the mark schemes out there available. Tutors have, or qualified teachers, I should say, have all those resources available, and they've recently been in the classroom. And I know from personal experience, when I was in the classroom, the moments that I took away and the moments that I really learned were when it was in a smaller environment. So instead of just having a classroom of 30, there were, maybe 2-on-1s, 3-on-1s, and the teacher could really dig deep into the problems that I was having at school. And that's how we've decided to set up Sherpa, going over the qualified teachers, one-to-one tuition sessions. The tutor is there, or the qualified teacher and tutor are there to personalize your session to you. You could have an hour session with them and they will have set up that entire hour just for you. Everything is tailored towards you. We also provide really good, excellent customer service. If you enjoy me speaking now, I can assure you that you'll probably speak to me a bit on the phone. And also, we've got a great team behind us. Our team of tutor recruiters are excellent. I'm not sure who interviewed you, Tim, but I'm sure you had a great onboarding experience with them. And they just, we make all of our teachers feel at ease when they come onto the site, and we do exactly the same with the students. Education is so important. It is one of the biggest things that you're ever going to do. And even if it's such an early stage in your life, it really does set you up. And as I mentioned, each of our tutors that come on are personally interviewed by a member of the team. Other tuition sites out there kind of just have this application process where you fill in your qualifications and then next day you're ready to teach. We have a nice setup where we make sure, tutors like Tim, for example, he went through a nice process, had a half an hour chat with a team member who, got down to his history, his teaching qualifications, everything like that. And then also showed him how to use the platform and how students would contact him on the platform. It's that personal touch that really sets us up. And having a rapport between a student and a tutor is the biggest thing. If that's not there, you can have the flashiest tech, the flashiest gizmos around. And so our entire site is designed about building that communication, that rapport between the student and the tutor. So yeah, hopefully I've convinced some of you out there to give Sherpa Online a go. And yeah, if you've got any questions, feel free to contact us. Give us a call, 01628 337 590, or you can send us an email at info@sherpaonline.com. Or if you want, again, a personal rapport and a personal touch from one of us, if you go onto the main Sherpa website, there's a nice little blue intercom button, and that will let you send a message to one of us here in the office, and we'll reply to it within a couple of minutes. So yeah, I think that's what sets us apart, and yeah, give us a go.
Okay, thanks, James. I will just say something in defence of people who aren't teachers, who aren't professional tutors. You know, some people have siblings, and your older brother, sister would have helped you with some maths. Absolutely fantastic. We're not saying that you have to be a teacher to be able to teach, or you have to be a professional tutor to be a tutor. And I would say there will be people that might have people helping them at university. So there might be university students, undergraduates. They can teach well if you give them a specific topic. So my advice there is if you're using a university student, then just tell them exactly what you want to be taught. Just say, please can I have a lesson on quadratic equations, something like that. Now, because they haven't gone through teacher training and they haven't done all the maths recently, they won't be able to teach some of the more specific topics. So just be aware that those university students, they can help you, but only up to a point. So the professional tutors and the teachers, they're pretty much teaching maths day in, day out. They should know the material backwards, especially with maths, because the syllabus isn't too broad. If you want an A-level physics tutor, I have taught A-level physics. The curriculum is so massively broad that it's actually almost impossible to be on top of absolutely everything you'll ever see in a physics exam at A-level. Next slide, please. Okay, so next steps, you're interested in possibly doing A-level maths. Really good advice here. I'd suggest you have a look at this book here. It's about £6, I think, Head Start to A-level maths. Actually, nearly everything in that book is sort of level 8, level 9 GCSE maths. So if you're a high flyer and you really want an 8 or 9 or 7, 8 or 9, let's say, for GCSE, get hold of that book. It's CGP, which I think is you'll know about. It's one of the biggest publishers for revision guides, and actually have a flick through that book. And if you open that book and you instantly fall asleep because it all looks so tedious, probably don't do A-level maths. Do something else, geography, or I shouldn't say, or just something which isn't maths. So it will give you an idea of what you'll be doing at A-level. It will give you a slight head start, and it will also boost your chances of getting a grade 8 or 9, let's say. Now, this slide here, actually, it's taken from C1, which is the first part of A-level. If you look closely, actually, most of it is actually GCSE maths. There's some stuff on the index rules, so we expect GCSE students to know those. There's stuff on completing the square, which some of the sort of top GCSE math students will have done or will be doing at some stage. And there's factorization of a quadratic. So amazingly, that's on the A-level syllabus. But if you're really good at GCSE, you'll already be there, halfway there, or a third of the way there, let's say, with the start of the A-level course. Great. I think we're nearly there. Oh, the calculators. So these aren't in order of size. I've scaled them up. The blue one here, it's only a little bit smaller than the big boy on the right, but the blue one there is a Casio Class Whiz. That's what you'd be using for GCSE. And please, if you're doing GCSE and because of whatever restrictions, lockdown, you haven't got a proper calculator, please get yourself a decent calculator. People will always say they can do stuff on their mobile phone when they can, but you can't do exactly what you need for GCSE on a mobile phone. So get hold of one of those. It's a Class Whiz. It's a Casio. It doesn't have to be Casio. Anything suitable for GCSE. And then A-level, you have slightly more expensive. The one on the left is 15 quid, very approximately. This one's about 40 quid. That's for A-level. On that home screen there, there's some statistics. You can sort of enter some data and do some quite interesting statistics. And this big one here, the big boy, this has got some colourful graphics. So it's really exciting. I asked my wife if she could get me one for Christmas. and she's simply refused because she did A-level maths as well, but she thought I was being a little bit too sad, so she refused to get it for me for Christmas. So I'm going to buy it myself for Christmas instead. And I think we're almost there. Next slide, please. Okay, so best advice, if you're not sure about A-level maths, just get really good at maths anyway. Get yourself a decent GCSE grade. Employers always look very carefully at the GCSE and A-level maths grades. They seem to think that if you can be really good at maths, you're pretty smart. Doesn't always work that way, but it's quite handy that that's what people think if you've got a good grade in maths. So keep calm and love maths. Thank you very much.
Well, I learned quite a bit. I kind of wish I could go back in time and actually do some A-level maths now. It might set me up a different path, but I guess we'll never know. But if you're in that position where it's something that you are currently looking to do, and you were kind of umming and ahhing on the fence, I know that if I went back and I had all of the information out there that there is now, probably may have made a couple of different choices, who knows. But yeah, just make sure that you are putting the research in, knowing what you want. And I know we're here and we're doing it, and it's a bit cliche to say, but go back to a couple of the slides, see some of the career paths that you can go down, and is that something you want to do? And in terms of going from GCSE to A-level, the then step from A-level to university, in my opinion, is not as great, but that GCSE to A-level is where it really steps up. So make sure that you're doing something that you are passionate about and that you love. I know it's really early to make that decision, and you can always change, but if you put the time in now, you'll definitely see the benefits of it. So what we'll do is we're going to move on to a little Q&A. I've got a couple of questions for Tim that I pre-prepared. He is aware of what I'm going to ask him, and hopefully he's had some time to think of some answers. And if you've got any answers, I'm about to get up the Facebook live stream. Have a look at see if there are any comments on there. I think we're averaging a relatively good amount of viewers, and capped out at 10 at one point. Looking at this, which is always it's better than none. And we've got a good few people actually in the webinar right now. So let's just open up the comments, but I'll kick it off from my point of view to you, Tim. Your passion for maths clearly stands out. What is it that fascinates you about it? Is it the right or wrong? And knowing, this is the answer, that's exactly what it is. There's no umming and ahhing about it. What is it that brought maths to your attention, and why do you love it so much?
Yeah, well, to be honest, it's just the certainty that you get with maths. I just loved it when I was, just 13, 14. I was growing up, and being a teenager is always difficult. But then there was always the certainty of maths and the ability that I knew I could do it. I could get the right answer. And I knew if I tried hard, I could get a top grade. And that was what kept me going, actually. I had a reasonable childhood, but actually maths has always been my friend, and it still is. And if I'm a bit fed up with things, I just do some maths. It's not the only way of making yourself feel better, but anything that makes you feel good is what you all want to do. And in my case, I was lucky enough to be doing something in my career which I loved anyway. But actually it is the sense of certainty and the precision. So mathematicians often talk about precision. They like things to be precise. So that's what it's about, really. But also if you teach maths like I do, it's just essential that you stay on top of your game, and you know how to know you need to know your subject back to front, really. So whenever I do maths, it's always partly for me just because it makes me feel good and I like it, but partly because it's good for my career, and hopefully it's good for my students as well, because that's why I do it.
Are there any points where you have come across something even after all these years? I know that I love myself a cliche, and one of the best cliches is you learn something new every day. Is there still stuff you're finding out about maths?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's always different ways to teach it, but also I'm a bit of I did engineering science, so it's when you say to yourself, "I know everything about my subject." Well, you're basically dead, because you're not growing, you're not thinking. There's always new stuff to learn. I mean, I've always got a bit cross with students, actually, when they say, "Oh, certs, oh, we've done that, so we're not doing that again." But actually, there's always things to build on. There's always expertise to improve, and with A-level mathematicians, it's speed. Actually, you can get faster, and then you'll get be much easier to get a good grade. So there's always something out there. Now, that's for me. I'm clearly a complete geek, and I'm out and proud of being a geek. But actually, students, if you can learn to love the subjects you're doing, and if you don't see it as a chore, then that's the best advice I can give you. But to get to that stage, you need to work hard on the basics. And a lot of these subjects, maths in particular, it gets enjoyable once it gets really exciting and enjoyable once you've put the time in. If you're clinging on by your fingernails, you're probably not enjoying yourself much. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. And is there, again, following on from that, do you think we've hit a cap with, the maths that has been learned today, the concepts, the theories, everything like that? Do you think we're still in a period where something, for example, tomorrow could come up on the news, a new mathematical theory and concept? And obviously you mentioned briefly earlier that maths and physics are intertwined so much, which they obviously are. Do you think the discoveries are more mathematical, or are they more physics based and then the maths is there to back it up? Or is it just, we've kind of found everything now?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And people were asking the same question 200 years ago. So have we sort of learnt everything there is to learn in maths? And what's happened actually is that we've learnt a huge amount. There's a saying that actually, I think it was 1770 or something, they think they'd learned all the maths, like 70% of it they'd ever need, and then they kept on finding new things. But actually, with the world changing so much, there's always stuff out there. So for instance, people have been talking about the last 20 years as the golden age of science, because we're now able to look further and further and further into the universe and see things we've never seen before. And conversely, we've got the power to look at atoms and what's inside atoms. We've got particle colliders, which are shedding light on new areas of physics, which will never really stop fascinating people. So as soon as you say you've learned everything, you'll probably find you're wrong, because there's always stuff out there for people. It's not just the mathematicians, it's the physicists and everybody, basically. There's always stuff out there. The world is changing really fast.
Brilliant. If you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice.
Okay. What about maths?
Yeah.
Or
Oh yeah, about maths.
about my life. Yeah. So that's such a good question. I think I would have just hung in there, and I would have, it's about having a craft. So if you're a professional, you want to be as good as you possibly can be. Nobody's perfect, but you want to be as good as you possibly can be. And if you can be that person, the person that's as good as possible, that's it. You've kind of you've done your best. So for me, perhaps I could have worked a little bit harder to get into Cambridge University, who rejected me because I was busy playing rugby and not working as much as I should have done. But yeah, I think if I'd worked a little bit harder at a key time in my life, I could have done a bit better. But I don't really bother too much about regrets. It's more about the good things I've done.
Yeah, brilliant, excellent. And then, lastly from me, I've seen we actually do have an audience question, which I'm buzzing about.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So, but last one from me is, does it? I mentioned and alluded to earlier that for me, the jump from GCSE to A-level is bigger than A-level to university. Would you agree with that? You're a teacher; you've got the syllabus in front of you most of the time. In terms of generational leaps, whereabouts do you think they are in the curriculum?
Yeah, no, that's such a good question. So from GCSE to A-level, if you're doing high level maths, you're aiming to get a grade 6 or above. And if you do get a grade, 6 is a little bit weak for A-level maths, but it's good enough. But if you're getting a 7 or above, yeah, definitely A-level maths, you'll be able to do it. I say you'll be able to do it. So the lower 6, because there's a slight crossover between A-level and GCSE, the lower 6 is quite a lot easier in terms of concepts than the upper 6. And there's a big jump up to the upper 6. So there are some people, it's quite rare actually. Most people that start A-level maths finish A-level maths, but you can actually just do it as an AS, so you can finish after the lower 6. So that's quite a good option if you're not convinced. So in the upper 6, amazingly, I've found students, they actually significantly cleverer when they're in the upper 6. They're just more mature. They might ask really interesting questions, and your brain keeps on growing, I think, until you're 18 or 19. then it goes downhill, funnily enough. But my students have always been amazed how much more clever they seem to be, or intellectual, in the upper 6 and the lower 6, and that tallies with the jump up to the upper 6 maths. Now then at university, there is a big jump. Funnily enough, I was really good at maths, and I did engineering, and I found some of the physics actually quite difficult at university, and my maths sort of kept me heading in the right direction. So the answer is you'll never really know where they talk about the maths ceiling. Everybody has a maths ceiling. There'll be, Einstein he solved stuff that I couldn't do I would never be able to do probably. But people do have their limits. And when you get to those limits, just be aware. I mean, maths is hard, and good mathematicians like solving problems. But if you're working all hours and you're not getting, the grades you really expect, just be aware that could be your maths ceiling, and then do other things. You don't need to persevere with stuff that's not really working for you. So that would be my advice. Be flexible, but also be ambitious. Set out to do really great things. And even if you don't get your first-class degree at your first-class university, you're going to get a good degree from a good university, or whatever it is in your case. So just be ambitious. Try and do more than what you think you could do. Just push the boat out and be brave and bold and enjoy.
Well, we've actually got 2 questions now. So
I'm all over fantastic,
this.
loving it.
Yeah. So the first one is, let me just read it here. So going back to the concepts and theories that I mentioned, what is your favorite mathematical concept? Do you have a bit of the subject that you love teaching the most?
Well, my favorite maths is when it looks really complicated and confusing, and I'm not quite sure what to do, and then I just have some sort of thoughts, and then I pull it all together, and suddenly you think, oh, it's working, it's a revelation. Now that's more A-level maths than GCSE maths, so that's called just problem solving. But I think it's something like 30% of the maths you do at GCSE is designed to be problem solving. So next time you see a GCSE maths paper, just look at some of the questions. It's actually primary school maths. The concepts are just multiply, divide, subtract, all that kind of stuff. So it's primary school maths, but used in quite a complicated context, and that's problem solving. So most mathematicians will like problem solving. And you need to be able to sort of sit in a room and actually not be able to do something and not panic, just calm down and think it through. But when you think it through and you get it right, or even nearly right, it's like really satisfying. It's free. You don't have to pay for that experience. So that's great. So that's problem solving. That's what I like doing. In terms of what I like teaching most, probably the graphics. I quite like the technology when it works, where you can get some graphs to show people. Showing graphs on a big electronic whiteboard is great fun.
Yeah,
it's quite nice when students come to the front of the class and do stuff on screen as well. So that's nice. The online teaching, I think the online teaching has been more fun for me sometimes than face-to-face A-level teaching, because you can just do so much. You can just you can actually write really quickly, for instance. It's quite difficult as a teacher writing on a whiteboard quickly. So yeah, all of that.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of the same, and I love spreadsheets, and spreadsheets is all about maths. So yeah, I'm all over that. And yeah, the other question, I'm loving the fact that we've got questions coming in. I'm just all over it. So how different is GCSE Foundation to the full paper? If taking Foundation is a 5, a good enough result for uni applications?
Yeah, so GCSE Foundation, you can get a grade 5 with that, and that's great. Then if you want to get more than a grade 5, you have to do the higher level paper. Now, if you're wanting to do a maths-based degree at university and you're doing foundation maths, that is a really big challenge for you. So there's a lot of stuff you won't have learned if you're doing foundation at GCSE maths. So you need to think about whether you're going to be happy with foundation level maths. I do have some students who want to be a doctor, actually. So if you want to be a doctor, to be honest with you, you won't be able to do that with foundation level maths unless something extraordinary happens. So technically, you can start A-level maths with a grade 5 at GCSE Foundation. But if you talk to teachers, they'll tell you it's going to be really, really tough. But if you can put the work in and prove everybody wrong, then that's okay. There might be strange things going on if you've moved schools a lot and you're on a foundation for that reason. Or sometimes I feel a bit bad about this, but some schools, they want people to get the best grades possible. Now that means if you're sort of intermediate, they might say, oh, to put them on foundation because I'll get a better grade. So you might be in that special category of people that really should have been put into higher level maths. Basically, if you think you should be doing higher level maths, look at the high level syllabus, the course, get one of those CGP revision guides, see if you can teach yourself or get somebody to help you. And that's it. And then prove people wrong. If I'm saying to you can't do A-level maths with a foundation level maths GCSE, prove us all wrong. I mean, it will be tough, but you might be able to do it.
Excellent. And I suppose, yeah, from my point of view, obviously you mentioned the math ceiling. So leading on from that, do you think there's a minimum level of maths knowledge that is needed to get you by? And if you had to relate that to a GCSE level, or where do you see that being?
Yeah, so basically, I think it's the case always used to be that employers would require a GCSE in English and a GCSE in maths, and it used to be a foreign language, but I don't think that's relevant now. The foreign language, sadly, so employers will still want that. They'll want to see whatever job you're doing, if possible, they want to see the GCSE maths, and they want to see the GCSE maths. English as well. They want to see both of those, grade 4 or grade 5 or above or something like that. In terms of doing A-level maths, really, nearly all schools I know of would want at least a grade 6. They might even specify grade 7 for A-level maths students. Grade 6 should do it, actually, at most schools. But if some schools are oversubscribed, they may have to just make those grades a bit higher because they've got too many people coming in.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's all the questions that we've got. I'm still excited the fact that we got 2, so all good. Is there anything you wanted to just finish off with? Anything you wanted to ask me? And then, yeah, we've got sort of 6 minutes. Obviously, we don't have to keep the 6 minutes going, but yeah, is there anything you wanted to ask me?
Yeah, well, that's going to make the point that with Sherpa, you can meet your teacher, meet your tutor, your teacher. I think it's like a 20-minute or even 30-minute session you have just to work out if the teacher's right for you. And I had a student yesterday, brilliant, lovely student. We just didn't quite hit it off, actually. And it turned out that the way that I was teaching A-level maths was different to the way she'd been taught. And with A-level maths, you do get different ways of doing things. So that was great. I mean, she found out that I wasn't quite right for her. She wasn't quite right for me. We didn't quite have the right technology. I couldn't read the questions she was giving me. So it didn't quite work, but she'll find somebody. There's I think, is it over 1,000 tutors you've got or something, or qualified teachers plus tutors?
Yeah, it is.
Choose from, and there'll be a lot of them will be better looking than me. They'll tell better jokes than me and stuff like that. So you can have a couple of trial sessions with people, and that's great. I always find with my teaching, I never quite know when I'm going to really hit it off with the student. It's sometimes completely unexpected. You think, oh, this is fantastic. I'll just really click with this student, and they click with me. Other times you find somebody think they're obviously, I can obviously do this. We're going to work fine. It doesn't quite work, and it's kind of almost impossible to find what it is. We call it rapport. You need a rapport with your teacher. Actually, with your teachers at school, it's impossible to like every single teacher you have. It just doesn't work that way. But with a tutor, you might have to give it a bit of time, but you'll normally have a rapport with your tutor. It may not happen immediately, but it will build on you'll build up to it, I would say.
Brilliant. Yeah, no, I think that was really informative, and I know I've learned quite a lot today around maths. So in terms of where we're going to go from go now, we're going to finish the webinar there. Oh, actually, hold on, we have another comment.
Fantastic.
Yeah. How would you suggest to revise for maths GCSE, as my daughter is struggling to find ways?
Okay. Give me 30 seconds. So, got the right book. Yeah. So that book there, it's CGP. I don't know if it's. Can you read that? All right.
Yeah. So
fine. It's back to front my end, but it's CGP. So they're the revision guides. That there is the sort of logo. What you've got here is you've got really good revision notes. So if I was, giving my students notes, it would be impossible to make notes anywhere nearly as near as good as this. But actually, what's quite good fun, they've got little videos as well. So if you buy, this is like £5-6 or something. That's the higher level. So that will take you up to from grade sort of 4 up to grade 9. You've got loads of questions. So that's the first port of call. And the little videos are good. So you click on the little video link and you get videos. But people are different. Some students just can just read and absorb stuff. Some people like to listen to stuff. Some people like to talk things through. A lot of my students, they just, whatever I teach them, they kind of repeat it back to me, and that's the way they learn. So it does depend on the learner, but that's a great starting point. They've been the best for a number of years, actually. And they're written in a sort of friendly, sort of teenagery kind of way, and also the adults can read them and sort of understand what's going on. So they're good. Other than that, get an online tutor if you can, or ask for help at school. Some schools these days have really good homework clubs. Just turn up, even if you're the only one. Just turn up.
Excellent. I will give it, as we had one come in short notice, I will just wait a couple more minutes just in case any others come through, but I will start to just sort of wrap it up. So yeah, it was brilliant doing this webinar with you, Tim. I've learned quite a lot, and hopefully in the future we're going to branch out, and I know you already expressed an interest in doing this, but going through and actually breaking down the math syllabus together, and going through maybe a couple of topics in the same kind of format, going through a past paper, something like that. That is where we're going to go with these webinars. But it's always good to sort of have a nice base introduction to A-level maths online, as we've just done, that you can always refer back to. So whether you're here live, if you are, thank you very much. I really appreciate you showing up. But this will always be there for you to refer back to. If you're a student that is maybe watching this in a couple of months' time, you're looking to submit your choices for A-level. I don't know why you'd be at the end, but if you've skipped to the end to see what happens, have a look back during the middle part. Have a look at all the careers that you can go through, what uni courses maths can take you on to do, and really sit down and evaluate. Pros and cons list. Love a pros and cons list. Get a nice sort of legal pad write it down, and decide whether maths is for you. So yeah, I think that's where we're going to end it there. Again, thank you, Tim, for taking time to do this. It was really, really informative.
Yeah, fantastic. My pleasure.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. Well, thank you everyone for turning up. And yeah, if you need anything, give Sherpa a call, 01628 337 590. I hope the phone is going to start ringing as I hang up. And if you have any other queries, anything like that, email info@sherpa-online.com, or have a look on the website. And as I said, send us a message through that intercom button. So yeah, all done. Well done, everyone.
Bye, guys. Thanks for joining us.
Enjoy. Have a good evening, everyone.